crowd was roaring for it, and Australia fly right down to the line. Ridge to get an early touch and get hammered. Joe Banganar, they fly into meeting. Bit of an awkward start for New Zealand. Pongia, the experienced man up front. Tallis over the top. Kearney, right on the fringe to improve things out to the 30. They've recovered nicely to set for the kick. Back for Ridge, and plenty of time to try and get it away from Lockyer, and that's a big ask tonight, because if he goes too wide, you've got Saylor and Brasser out on the other side.
Yeah, you have to, but I tell you what, that is a very good line, and what the Australians just given, their Kiwis are given straight back to them, Graham.
What an outstanding chase, but the penalty will come for the home side. McCracken fires them up, but that was a magnificent chase, Toddy.
Oh, great stuff from the Kiwi side there. You can see they're fired up, and whatever Australia give out, the Kiwis are going to take, and they're going to get back double. They're fired up this side. You can just see the look in the Kiwis' eyes. They're out here to play some serious football tonight.
Straight over the 50. Now for Darren Brett. One who doesn't so much try to charge over that advantage line, but to keep the ball alive.
Well, that's the big thing they try and do, don't they, Kennedy? Darren Brett will just try and offload all the time, the same as Robbie Kearns. He'll try and do that now as the Australians will go wide.
Good kick from Langer in behind Barnett. He comes up with a fumble. And it's Langer picking up where he left off from terrorising another Kiwi, Halligan, in the grand final.
Well, that's what they do. They put in the corner for Saylor the chase. He runs to the line and holds everybody up. Then they've got to go back. It's the actual fumble from Richard Barnett that lets him down. I thought he might be able to get on the outside of Langer, but again, Wendell Saylor, Smith, great chase.
Barnett had a quick look. Little bit greasy after the rain before the kickoff. Straight through the hands, and another terrific chase. And I'll put the question to you. Bennett had Brisbane firing after half-time against Canterbury in the grand final. Has he told them to put the foot down here and keep it there? That's offside.
He's offside. Good call by the referee. Excellent stuff there. Knowing that he was offside by at least probably a metre. It certainly is going to help the Kiwis. Here's the ball, touches. I think Webke is the man. Oh, I can't believe he's even touched that ball, Darren Brett.
McCracken wanted to go on with him after that in just a small incident, as Ridge will look out towards the sideline. But is it a case of putting the foot down and leaving it there?
Well, I think that's what the Australian side will try and do, knowing that most of these Kiwi boys haven't played for something like 7 or 8 weeks. They'll try and put the pressure on right from the word go. But the Kiwis, they need to score early and hold their lead.
The switch coming up for Stacey Jones. Joe Banganar had a decoy runner and went straight through Renoff. He loses it. Was there a hand in there? No hand from a touch judge, and just lost. That brings up the next point about controlling possession and finishing your set of 6 in this test match.
Well, I think the New Zealand side's had the ball for about 3 sets of 6 and dropped it on the second tackle once again. But I'll tell you, the other thing is that last time they met in the test series, they angled all their plays at Steve Renoff all day long down the short side.
Langer to get it to Kevin Walters. They lose nothing, Australia, with this combination. If anything, they might gain with the fact that they know each other's game so well. Kearns fighting for every inch past the 20. Oh, Jason Smith absolutely hammered. Great shot in there from Robbie Paul. Tell you what, this is hurting. Sideru flies in. Really trying to shake them off their game. Lockyer with a little bit of time to get the kick in, but this will be easy meat for Ridge. Not the kick he was looking for, Lockyer, as Ridge goes across to try and link up. Stays one-on-one with Saylor, gets put down pretty heavy.
Yeah, very good defence by the Kiwis in that set of 6 now as Kevin Iro darts out of the dummy half area. What they've got to do now is just settle down, get another good kick in, and put pressure back on the Australians in their own 25.
Oh, another fumble, and Iro got up looking daggers at a touch judge. Now, made ground towards the centre. Jason Smith in there. And
I think what he was saying, that Jason Smith had his feet there where the ball was. He tried to get up and play the ball, and he's lost it forward.
Great opportunity for the Australians, and Kevin Walters to stay nice and wide to bring Lockyer in. Took that well, ran off to the outside now. Brasher to the inside, but they match up on there. Hectic pace, massive arm wrestle so far. Kearns takes it to the midfield, the domain of Langer and Kevin Walters. Short ball in there for Lockyer. Another danger. And Jason Smith. Langer through his hands, travelled back for Lockyer easily to pick it up. They maintained their line. Webke now to get over the advantage line, right up the middle. Sets it up in front of the post. Now he loses it. The rain's still tumbling here at Suncorp, and it's problems for both sides.
Well, it was a great run there by Webke, but a tremendous tackle by Steve Kearney to get over the top, and that forces the drop ball just, and I think Steve Kearney might just have a little right hand in there, pushing the ball forward.
Bit of intensity out there as well, not just the wet conditions, Toddy.
Well, you hit on the nail on the head. Their wet conditions are going to play a big part in this. It is very intense with the hits, but whoever completes their sets of 6 is going to win this game. I think you'll remember the first test. That's the one thing New Zealand did do. They completed their sets of 6. It is very, very slippery out there with this rain coming down, so the guys have to concentrate on ball security.
At the wrong end of Suncorp at the moment, and the wrong end of a handling error count early in this second test. Barnett trying to skip away. Sideru rushes across. Ginamu has made his way out there in 14 to Robbie Paul. Kearney takes on the line. Now the short side for Eru slipping. Stacey Jones did well. Take that one behind him and find his mark down towards the in goal. A little bit too strong. They'll go back to the 20.
Yeah, just a little bit too far there by Stacey. I tell you what, I can see the same things happen in the first test as I can in the second test. Robbie Paul, of course, has left the field the same as what John Lomax did in the first one.
Quick restart and a shuffle out wide to Renouf. He loses it. Cake of soap for both these sides.
Well, I think the message will be going out shortly. Just someone will just take the ball forward. Let's get a set of 6 in. A very, very strong tackle by Genome, who's just come on the field there. And there's the loss by Renouf.
Brasher called back by Russell Smith, the Kiwis, with a terrific chance. The story with Robbie Paul, Toddy.
Yes, he's got a slight strain, slight groin strain. They've taken him inside. I'm not sure what they're going to do if they'll inject it. They'll be pretty painful if they inject the groin, but that's the problem. Can't run at the moment.
Won't argue with that. Ridge. Now Barnett, so it's the Warriors half 5-8 against the Broncos 6 and 7. Logan Swan. Just a dozen metres or so. Eru fires out a bullet to Stacey Jones to go inside. McCracken met strongly over the top, now barreled back out and absolutely backslammed. Smashed to the ground. Tallis in there, gets up screaming at him, does the same at Kearney. Asked who wants to go on with it.
Well, I think the big thing what happened, McCracken was held in the tackle. I thought the referee Smith was going to say held. He didn't.
Still they stand arguing about it. Ridge went up to Russell. Smith argued the point and now wants to do it with Tallis.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, it's no use going up to the referee once he's made his decision. Just get out of the road. But here's the ball being turned back inside. There's the tackle, but you'll see Tallis come flying in, picks up the legs, and just awkwardly falls right on the back of his neck. I'll tell you what, that should be resulted in a penalty there.
Well, I think they would have called for something out of all of this in the NRL, but
it's a test match. Russell
Smith not asking for any of this to be looked at. Tallis on points at the moment, ready to take on the world.
Well, he'll need some gloves at the same time.
Kearney has runners inside. And again, they just settle in front of the post. Joe Pangana. Best set of play for either side so far. Pongia on the last needs to shift. Wiki. Somebody mustn't have heard the call.
Well, I think Stacey Jones was stretched out there to the left-hand side of the field, and now as Tallis goes forward, but the little kick should have been put in for another set of 6.
Brasher. Kiwis certainly rising with this frantic pace, but can ill afford to let Australia out of this danger area so easily.
And they did it so well before that, didn't they? A set of 6, they only made around about 30 metres, the Australians. I'll tell you what, they are struggling in that department because the forwards are really giving it to them.
Darren Britt. McCracken gets back some of his own with a big shoulder charge. Wedke, likewise, meets a bit of a brick wall as Robbie Paul sits sideline.
I just think the wild man might be coming out of McCracken after that tackle now, as Kevin Iro pulls off a great tackle on Walters.
Second test match, maybe they should have billed this as World Championship Wrestling. Quite an arm wrestle.
Mate, it's just going to be the toughest will survive, won't it, out there tonight, Toddy?
Yeah, I think it was, and the longer this goes in closeness, I think the Australians will probably be stronger because of their match fitness, but the Kiwis are playing great football at the moment.
Now they rush up. The Australians will make another big hit. It's Tallis once more as Kalis gets a call to go sideline. Hoppy with a touch. Normally saves his best for the test arena. Wiki. Right back on his own 20. Now Kalis gets his first ever touch in test football.
Well, great work by the young bloke there, Kalis. Just get there, get the ball straight away and go forward.
Put too much pressure to Quinton Pongia on Sideru. Overran him in the play of the ball and opens the door for the Aussies.
Yeah, it's just mistakes really that are killing them. And, you know, that's probably, I reckon their mistake rate now is around about 4-1 against the Australians, not counting the drop ball. Big Joe takes a bit of a break.
Bit of a bloodbend as well for Joe. Won't like to be missing from any of the action. Still the handling errors against the Kiwis as Darren Smith stays outside, then inside for Wendell Sailor. Plenty of defence there. Kearns. Not being able to run in any pairs at all to support each other. Defence has been ferocious. Darren Brett. There's a little bit of a sign for you.
I told you, as Toddy said, is up front where these games are won. I'll tell you what, the Kiwis in the fullback so far are up in points.
Langer knows that he might have to do something in a moment. Just inside the 20 for Brasher. To Langer. Wide to Darren Brett. Went inside, got a ball back for Kevin Walters. Jason Smith. Now for Lockyer. Lockyer on the inside. Tallis has been in everything. Ridge lays on him over the top, tries to slow the play the ball down. Langer tried to set for the kick, back for Lockyer. Quick hands required. Ran off, fumble. Hoppy, did he hang on to it? Not a problem, said the referee. Terrific defence.
Oh, unbelievable defence. The best thing that the Kiwis are doing, they're getting up in the front of the faces of the Australians and putting pressure on them.
Plenty of frustration in that, Toddy.
Yeah, there certainly is, but Gary Freeman is exactly right. The Kiwis are bustling them. You can only play as good as the opposition. The Australians are bustled, but the longer they go, I suppose, the better they're going to get. But this is great from the New Zealand side. And Crackers, he's just getting right into it.
Pretty even the meters gained. This battle up the middle. Robbie Paul back out there for Kevin Iro with a little bit of room. Sailor hangs on to him just short of the 50. Kearney trying a step. And a long advantage played by Russell Smith. 40 out, looking down the barrel at the post as McCracken gets a spell. And Ridge has an opportunity here to break the ice.
This is what they've really got to do. This is the replay where the ball went to no man as McCracken just come out to get a little bit of a workout from the wild man, and I think he has returned. I'll tell you what, he's having a big game, taking the ball forward and putting pressure right on him. Ridge, he's going to go for line.
Well,
which is not a bad boy.
40 metres out, looking down the barrel pretty much, looking for 6 points. Feeling strong at the moment. But there's the mistake. They had a chance at 2. I thought that might have been a better settler.
And that was Tony Iro coming up with a mistake there. Never dropped that ball. I think Ridgie knows they can't win just by 2. They've got to score tries against this Australian side to win the game.
Punishing early, no score in this second test. Lockyer into the line, but they match up once more. Fine tackle down low from Robbie Paul. Sailor with a juggling act. Then a bit of a dance, but neither gets him out of trouble. 45 from their own line. Brad Thorne. Webke back in the blood bin alongside of Joe Vugana. Andrew Johns wide, very wide for Langer, as is Tallis, and he just manages to hang on as this strong defence continues. Langer under pressure, creates a little bit of space, puts up a midfield bomb for Ridge, takes it beautifully, and then takes the tackle of Menzies, backslams him. Former teammates at Manly. Cactus Price out there in 16, who starred for the Bulldogs in that grand final.
He's very athletic, and I tell you, every time the ball's kicked downfield, expect that man there to make the tackle, as now Kalis goes forward again. Oh, comes up with another mistake. Unlucky for the young bloke.
John screaming back at his own team. Here's another chance for them.
Hang on.
With a ferocious beginning. And the Kiwis have come up with the most mistakes in their own half. Tallis has been the strongest of the Aussie forwards. Down the tunnel might have a problem. Langer for Kevin Walters, tries a step up the middle. Nobody back at home. Big tackle made by Tony Pulatua out there. A switch immediately for Langer. Has Lockyer, and Menzies out there now in 17, just 12 metres away. Vital stage of this first 40, Darren Brett. Great short ball out for his Canterbury teammate, Price. Right in front of the post, just simple combination. Nearly got him behind the line. Langer looking to the in goal. Ridge gets over there, Barnett knocks on, then forces. Touch judge in on the play. Langer was knocked over, and Russell Smith will go over to hear the report. Plenty of traffic in and around that area.
Back off. The bloke we want. Back off. No, he's the bloke we want. Right. 13, number 13. Number 13. You want number 13?
Logan Swan is the man they go looking for.
After Alfie's kicked the ball, it's come up high and it's taken him out of the play. It deserves a penalty where the ball landed.
He wasn't just committed to the tackle.
No, he wasn't committed to the tackle.
13! 13!
There's the play there. Oh, Logan Swan just going a fraction eye, but the player that Alan Langer is got straight up off the ground. Here he goes once again. There's the tackle. He pulls out of it the last second.
Ridge tied over the top of it. Barnett was there to save it. Now we might finally get a chance to slow down and look at some points, but what a pace to this one, Toddy.
Yeah, it certainly has been a great pace, and you know the Kiwis have stood up to the task. They've just been their own worst enemy. They can't complete those sets of 6. They've, you know, lost the ball in their own half about 3 or 4 times, and Australia are going to capitalise on it now and probably easily kick 2 points.
So often you see kick at goal and one side grabs just 2 points, seems to settle them down. That's what I was probably trying to get at, was Ridge from 40 metres out.
Yeah, I thought he probably would have gone for a shot himself too. Knowing that the game was sort of just up and down all over the place. And you usually see Alfie go here and take a tap straight away.
The 6th test match for Australia. Great talent, Lockyer showed it in the grand final, showed it all season. Had a hiccup at Albany in that first test. Young man around for a long, long time. Andrew Johns is another goal kicker in this lineup, but it's Lockyer to do the duties at 68% so far this season. And this one right alongside the posts to finally get the scoreboard ticking. Taken quite a while, and there's been a little bit of upset here for the Australians from the Kiwi pack. 2-0. Webke, and another look after that blood bin incident where he was hit with a swinging arm from McCracken. On their heels. Just a couple of points in it. And now, midway through this first 40, the most vital stage of all, to see if they can maintain the gear that they've gone to, Tony, the Kiwis.
Well, this is going to be really an important time because this is with the match fitness, and I know a lot of the Kiwi guys, they haven't played for 5 or 6 weeks, and this is where Wayne Bennett will be banking on the Australians to really up the tempo and really rub it in just before half-time.
Andrew Johns, first real attempt to get out of that dummy half position. And a good quick play of the ball for Darren Britstow, and a few tackles they've managed to get out to the 40. Best roll they've had from that position down deep, and Langer to set for the kick and a big chase to turn New Zealand around. Didn't quite get the long kick that he wanted, but the chase is excellent again. Webke really showing the signs of war here at Suncorp.
And this is what we need. We need little blokes like Stacey Jones to get in there and run from the ruck area, put some pressure on the Australians around there, because they're not moving up as quick as they were in the first 5 to 10 minutes of this game.
12 minutes in the opposition half for Australia, just the 7 for New Zealand. Ridge to return the favour from Langer, gets it away from Lockyer. Plenty of time for the chasers. So it's tit for tat down to each other's 20 as McCracken gets wound up again sideline. Menzies. Another long advantage played, this time New Zealand inside the 10. And quickly restarted by Lockyer as they try and pick up the pace. Webke keen to get back out there. Brad Thorne. 35 metres out as the Australians set themselves. More possession again. Well, the thoughts of Wayne Bennett, Tony.
Yeah, well, I just saw him talking to the trainers, and he's obviously gone to tell them to really up this tempo now with 10 minutes to go before half-time. He feels as though the Kiwis may be broken here, so they should be going.
Got to start to show something for the better possession. Some treatment from Tony Iro over the top, and the ball was stolen this time. And somebody's had something to say. Tony Iro kicks the ball away.
I'll tell you what, Lockyer is in all sorts of trouble at the back there. Just absolutely backslam there. Australian players there. Now you can see Wendell Saylor showing some real concern.
Really got the treatment over the top from Tony Iro. Well, and plenty also from Kevin. And the toughness of this game, some of the incidents that are happening might warrant Russell Smith finally starting to take a stand.
Well, he might have to start doing something. Well, the linesman might have to come and intervene, because just before that, Steve Kearney had his hands wrapped around Andrew Johns there, going toe-to-toe.
No big pardons, and quite a few no-hold-barred here at Suncorp.
Well, it is what test matches are all about, you guys. It's like State of Origin. Only the tough survive. Come on. This is a test match.
No one's going to argue with that.
I'm backing you up, Toddy.
Another look at it as Lockyer tried to go to the inside. So some questions being put to Australia in no uncertain fashion. And a long, long wait here over Lockyer, who was in real trouble. Just a couple of points in it. It has only been the goal from Darren Lockyer that has the nose in front at 2-0. Still Lockyer struggles. Has the opportunity, Bennett, of putting Brasher to fullback. And he has a lot of players as the signal goes out that Lockyer's out of here.
Well, I think what will happen, Jason Smith will come on, Brasher will go to the fullback spot. I'll tell you what, Matthew Ridge did say in the previous to the start of the game, this bloke would come under some certain amount of pressure from the big fellas up the middle of the ruck. I'll certainly tell you what, he's copped some attention just there.
Australian manager Chris Close calling out some instructions from the sideline. This match already starting to resemble the first one at North Harbour as Jason Smith gets back out. Langer to look for the sideline, looking for a try. Badly needed. Kiwis leading this series 1-0. Thorne inside the 10. Quick play the ball. Webke, bit of a step to try and go back on the inside of Tony Iro. Joe Buggenar was there, and support from Kearney. Langer, extremely deep and wide, trying to create some space. Now for Kevin Walters. Tallis. McCracken over the top. Anson gets squares in there also. Been following each other all over the place. Menzies. Still they defend so grimly. So much determination to keep them at 10 metres away. Langer again to look for the in goal to try and win. Kevin Walters! I tell you what, they call it the Ipswich connection. Did he have control? They're going to check it upstairs. Walters doesn't believe he got it. Superb kick from Langer, but Walters showing signs that he never really had control.
He certainly has shown those signs there straight away. He's thrown the ball down, saying, boys, I don't think I've got the ball down. And the only person really is going to be back behind the post, I reckon, is going to be the referee. But Alfie, once again, looking for either for the inside pass, put the ball over the back. Matthew Ridges up nice and flat, and that makes him go back very, very quickly. And then you can just see there, he drops the ball. That will be no try.
Yes, great combination though, Alfie and Kevin. We thought it was going to happen, just couldn't get there. A try's gone begging to Australia.
Forced it on his own leg. In actual fact, trying to jam the ball down, so it'll be no try. Just another wait here at Suncorp. The referee's got to wait. Big news for New Zealand. Still it stays 2-0. Some hard work coming up to get away from the danger zone, but all the hard work has been done superbly.
It has, and I'll tell you what, the forwards are really leading by example. Big Joe just... But the big thing about it is the interchange has worked so well for the Kiwis so far with those young guys going, give them a bit of a burst, and the experienced players go back on.
Sideru. Hands and knees, still fighting with Tallis. Tony Iro looking for a short ball, thrown to ground by Kevin Walters. Brad Thorne went flying over the top, probably trying to settle some sort of account for his Bronco teammate Lockyer. Brasher now, pretty accustomed to this fullback role, and he shows it.
Great stuff there by Timmy Brasher, under a lot of pressure from the Kiwi chasers. But what they need now, Australia, some good go forward by their big men.
Price wasn't quite expecting that short ball up from Kevin Walters. Did well to hang on to it as they go back to Langer. And Tallis head down. And that's a high shot from McCracken over top, and the referee will call him out.
Come on.
Bit of sledging from both sides, and it really is starting to creep in. And I mentioned before about the referee. He can't let this get away from him.
Well, I think that was just a bit of a square up, but I tell you what, McCracken's done what the Kiwis needed. Stand up to the Australians. Well, that's a high shot by Quinton Ponga. He might be in a bit of trouble here.
Well, they won it physically at North Harbour. Now it's time to really. And I think Russell Smith should have made his mark about 5 minutes ago at least.
Back off, lads.
This is all in favour of New Zealand, make no mistake.
Yeah, certainly. Well, I don't know if it is. I think the penalty will go against them. A big high shot there by Quinton, a swinging arm.
Quentin, we've got to make sure we're going to take a bit more care. We're getting around the neck area. I don't care whether the players are ducking or what. You've got to make sure that you hit safely. Chest and below, we'll just get them down. Shane.
Another look at this shot from... Never swung it, he just stuck an arm out. There was not much to it, but things have started to escape. And Tony, this is also the difficult area for both sides as to how far you go and when somebody settles down to play some football.
Well, but I suppose the New Zealand team have got to be very careful, although they're not taking any backward steps from this Australian side. In fact, I reckon the Australians are a little bit worried about them. The New Zealanders have got a bit of mongrel in them, and it's great to see because it's upsetting the Aussies.
Well, they keep on giving up the penalties. This crowd's roaring as the Australians look for a try. Got to agree with you that they have hustled and bustled tremendously.
Oh, what a tackle by Ruben Wiki. Unbelievable stuff there.
Can they keep it up? Brasher, a dummy half. Andrew Johns rushes over. Langer. Kevin Walters. For Darren Smith. Don't know that he's ever touched the ball prior to this. Kearns. Darren Smith got up swinging a left hook. Resented something as they go to just 5 metres away. For Langer. Drifting outside, looking inside. Toss! It's been nice and tough. Real tough. Finally it breaks.
It certainly does, and it is Alan Langer and Gordon Tallis. He runs across field. You can see the New Zealand players are just left stranded in the middle. They haven't come up. They've stayed right there in the middle there. They should have moved up there with the inside player with Robbie Paul. He gets left on his lonesome, Jared McCracken, I should say, and he gets out of the tackle of Matthew Ridge.
Yes, I suppose, well, the New Zealanders can give as much as they want, high shots and that, but there's only one way to answer it, and that's scoring tries like this. Just a little inside ball in these conditions is always going to work. Gordon Tallis has had a fantastic first half out there, and he has been without doubt the Australians' best player, and what a great try.
Now Andrew Johns at 63% takes over from the injured Lockyer. They're on deck with a try and they stretch it some sort of comfort at 8-0. First real touch of football.
Yep.
So physical. Just like it was at North Harbour, and scoreline that favours Australia by 8, but there is absolutely nothing to it. Just that the Kiwis really haven't had the share of possession from Australia because they've given away so many penalties.
And they've given away penalties, and drop ball has really let the Kiwis down in this first half with only something like 12 minutes to go. What they've got to do now is make sure they come up with a great set of 6 against the Australians and hopefully pin them in their own 30.
Webke. As McCracken again goes looking for him.
He's dropped that ball cold.
Still hanging on. I know the player lost the ball then later, but he's still hanging on after a called held.
Lockyer down on the sideline looking on as his teammates through the penalty will come back out towards halfway. Kearns, just some sort of respite from this pace of the first 40. Webke again wants it straight into Joe Wagner. Massive clash. Brad Thorne stepping. Pongia hangs on. This is where they've got to make sure they can't let Australia add something back to back. Andrew Johns, just a smell of it now. 30 metres out. Langer. Menzies standing wide where he is such a danger. Last tackle, Langer to try and bomb away. Ridge sent back towards his post. Good kick. And he hits the uprights. And they've got him just a metre out from his own line.
Well, the New Zealanders are really trying to upset everybody. Gordon Tallis is the man to get there. Now Poppy scoots out to around about 9 metres. But a great take by Matthew Ridge under all sorts of pressure.
Double possession, and I keep on mentioning it, but 10 minutes or so out from the break. This is where, if they can, they've got to start to find some possession and control.
Yeah, they certainly do, and this is where the Australians are really going to up the tempo. But I tell you what, I'm just sore on the sideline watching some of these hits. There are some pretty physical tackles going on out there.
Just resist the temptation to rush out.
Oh, I've seen Toddy Ruddy, won't be rushing nowhere.
Good on you, Wiz.
That's why they have so much of it, because the penalty count massive for Australia, 9-3. Now, something that lasts down the other end. Joe Wagner.
They still maintain that Stacey Jones now needs to get in there to start running the ball.
Pongia, good short ball up for Hoppy. McCracken has certainly dented a few reputations. Maybe even more than that. Jones, Namu, Kearney.
Get off quickly.
Camping outside the 20 for Jones to go short side. For Namu to side a gap. And a good kick and roll into the in goal. Brash is there, tidies things up.
Good work there by Gene Namu. Dart out a dummy half of this little man on the field here. Stacey Jones, that's what he's got to do. get in there, but this is good. They split real early, the Australians, put the little kick in. Brasher couldn't do anything else, but a great chase by the little Namu and Jones.
Important thing, the thought is controlling the ball. Another set of 6 coming up.
And in the opposition's 25.
Down deep for Ridge. Joe Vangana to wind up. He went straight at Langer. He got assistance, and plenty of it too, from Darren Brett. Logan Swan slipping on the short side. Again, that rain staying with us throughout this first 40. Robbie Paul skips away from dummy half. 5 metres only. Jones, awful pass, took it well. He sights it. Was he interfered with? Brasher's there, and again they'll get it back. Just stumbled as he put the kick in. The thought again was good.
Excellent stuff, because you can see Tim Brasher's coming from the right-hand side of the field there. There's really no one at home, and the centres had to really rush to get back there in time.
Well, I think that's near enough to a penalty as well. You can turn your back, but you can't go off your line, and Kearns had to motor a couple of steps to get off his line. Too upsetting.
He certainly did, but referee had a good view of it, never gave the penalty. One thing he has done is let this game flow.
Advantage now of 6 tackles. Possibly could have been 2 points, though. Can they find something on the end of it? Tongia. Tough as test as it comes. Inside the 20. 8-0 to the Australians. Logan Swan.
I think New Zealand look very dangerous once they go wide with the ball. This is what they're going to do now. They're going to try and run the Australians around, even though they're tired themselves.
Namu wide. Decoys Ridge. Needed to go one more pass. They had 2 men left over. Swinging arm in there from Kevin Iro. Darren Brett. Just settling the last 10 minutes or so, but they had men left over.
Oh, they certainly did, but it come up to a great tackle there by Saylor. He did save the day, but there was Kevin Iro left over, 2 men and Richie Barnett.
Price. Bit of a step on Joe Vangana, takes a heavy shot again, and yet another penalty for going too high. And Price is in absolute Disneyland now. He will get up asking all sorts of questions of the trainer and Vangana, and this one will go on report. So finally he's made a mark.
He certainly has to here. Stephen Price, he's absolutely, he's not in Australia, he's in Disneyland.
This is an important chat. We all want to see test matches as tough as they come, but now we're going to make a call about getting down to some football.
Whether he initially deflected off the shoulder, but we certainly caught a man high and putting it on report. They'll have a look at it later.
Cool, but you take into account that he's pulling into the tackle.
That's part of the equation, Matthew.
Price goes to the bench. There's been plenty headed there.
Well, I know I'm a Kiwi, but I tell you what, he's in distress there. That's very, very high by Joe Vangana.
This one to set it up for the Aussies outside the 30, and again the Kiwis to come up with that defence that has saved it on plenty of occasions.
Well, I tell you what, that is a scrum back there, because the tap was taken by Aiken. It wasn't taken on the 10-metre line.
Darren Brett, heavy shot from Pongia. Terrific head-on, forced them back into the arms of McCracken, and also Tony Pulatua. Jason Smith, Renoff. Now quickly for Langer and Kevin Walters, men outside. Logia! What they've got to worry about is giving away the penalties, because Lockyer back from the bench to bounce back with a big one.
Oh, what an absolute great try. Great hands here by the Australian players. Jason Smith started it all off. Nice long ball out there to Kevy. Puts the ball straight on the hands. These men here in New Zealand are kept here standing. They should have come up, and you can actually see Lockyer go straight through the hole there. They're standing there. Stacey Jones is the man. Should have come forward. Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yes, we always said Australia were going to be very strong out wide, but Alfie Langer once again and Kevy Walters, they saw where the gaps were. Just that ball there from Kevy Walters was beautiful, with Lockyer well, tremendous to come back from the knock that he took. He saw the gap, it was a mile wide. Jared couldn't get across, and that just extends the lead for Australia. It's going to be tough to come back from in the second half.
They've shown the determination. I'll make the point that I think as much as they were winning the physical battle so well early, I think they've taken it far too long into the game.
Yeah, I think they've just gone. They need to get out there and get back to playing footy. Get back to trying to throw the ball just a fraction wide of the ruck here. And stop trying to take them on so physical, because remember, 11 of these players only played 2 weeks ago. Most of our blokes have played 7 or 8.
Dozen metres in from the sideline. Ridge barking out the instructions, and important ones too before half-time. Got to keep that scoreline as is, if not find something themselves. Can ill afford anything else from here. Lockyer on a string back from the bench to really hurt in the green and gold. Suncorp a lot happier with the situation for Australia after that Brisbane Broncos special where they all mark up outside their man. Stacey Jones in no man's land, not coming off his line, and big door open for Lockyer. 14-0.
Yeah, one thing that Stacey had to do was just follow the inside man up and across. Jared McCracken had to come around about 15 metres to try and make that tackle, but Stacey must push up, and then Sean Hoppy would have pushed up and closed that situation off.
Namu with the restart. Sailor. Bit of room to wind up. Big numbers down there. Kevin Iro. Big Joe and McCracken. A spell before half-time. Webke. Still inside their own 20 and still with plenty of rain throughout this first 40. Wide ball, Kevin Walters. They'll try and attack from down deep in their own territory. They had some numbers and they motor out past the 30. Darren Brett.
They're really starting to get a roll on now, the Australians, throwing the ball around all over the place. I tell you what, they still do the hard work up the middle now as Alfie puts the ball down deep.
And there's a chase on for Barnett as he hurries, but a strong line of green and gold right on the 20.
Well, that's been the highlight of the first half, hasn't it, Graham? The chase by the Australians. Alfie, knowing that the kick's on, puts it down there, and Smith and all them just chase like crazy.
They need the ball. Simply just need a flow. Huge hit coming in from Webke as Darren Brett rushes back into the line for Tony Pulatua to take it up, but all by himself. Midfield. Now Tony Iro. Logan Swan tries to put a one-hander up. Dangerous pass that still with time lets them back in again. Kevin Walters wants to get wide. Here's the call. Andrew Johns likewise. Jason Smith to his brother Darren now for Sailor on the inside. He sits it up for Jason Smith. And Langer, quick hands. Getting away, and they give it back.
I don't know if Lockyer really wanted that ball then. Good work there by Tony Iro to clean up for the Kiwis now.
Right on the 50 for Weki. Fascinating first 40. Heavy defence from Andrew Johns on Namu. Jones. Tony Iro puts it down, just grabbed at it. And they just haven't managed to get to the end of their 6. North Harbour was a dream for them in that area.
It certainly was. This man here, I think, is missing there. He's controlled the game, especially in that North Harbour game, but again, it's their ball control that is letting them down. Coming up with mistakes when they have the Australians on the back foot.
Kevin Walters. Darren Smith bounces one out of the way. Kevin Walters kicks. Now I think Brasher might have just been a step offside. Stacey Jones! Great save. I thought Brasher was in front of the kick.
Yeah, I agree with you, Graham. I think Brasher was certainly in front by a yard. The linesman was here. He should have given that decision. Now Hoppy makes a good clean break 10 metres out.
They show him the sideline, trying to get him out closer to it. Another look, wild line ball, isn't it? I thought it might have been a half step, but touch judge called it good. Kalis. Still with some 20 seconds just to hang on, no mistakes. Eru. Some important territory. Now they spin on the last. Stacey Jones getting it away from Lockyer. They have hammered him in this first 40, but he's bounced back to find a try and a couple of goals. Put down right on his own 30. Down 1-0 going into this one here at Suncorp. Australians confidently take this lead into the second 40 for Webke to bring it back. 14-0. Second test. Trying to send it to a decider next Friday night. Darren Brett. 35 out from their own line. Kearns. Andrew Johns to split Ridge and Barnett. Got off to an awkward start with some handling problems early, the Kiwis, and just haven't seen enough of the ball. Need a big turnaround in this second 40.
Well, they've had plenty of ball, but their problem is I've dropped it on vital stages of the tackles in their own 25, which puts them under a lot of pressure. I see the Australian side now, they're ready to take it to the Kiwis in the first opening 10 to 15 minutes.
Tallis, outstanding performer in the first half. Tongia, right up the middle. Kearns went looking for him, so did Tallis. Joe Vaganar upset by Tallis and again missed at the second attempt.
Get off, hands off the ball.
Out to the 40 to set for the kick. Ridge standing nice and wide. To Sailor, danger man to kick to, open side. But excellent chase and good defence from Barnett and Kevin Iro. Lockyer. First tackle they try and shift. Ran off with a little bit of room. Amazing when you consider the danger that Langer represents and what he did in the second 40 of the NRL Grand Final. Still hasn't taken on the line in this one either.
I know that's a scary part with Alfie playing against you. You really got to be on your game for the whole 80 minutes. Because as you said, he hasn't even run with the ball. All he's done now is taken the ball forward, kicked it, and set up the outside backs.
Plenty of determination, plenty of passion and pride from the Kiwis first 40. I think this is where the brain cells have got to take over. Right here and now. Ridge climbs into the tackle. Australians looking as though they're keen to pick up the pace immediately.
Well, they certainly are. You can see some of the Kiwi players now. They're certainly not getting back to get back in the play the ball ruck area. This is what they need, some runs out of dummy half to get them back on the roll again.
Now Joe Vaganar has no one really behind him now as he stands in the tackle. Good quick hands from Jones to Kevin Iro. Taken by Langer. Just short of the 50. Kearney with the call to stretch to the other sideline. Jones dummies inside to McCracken, brings in Ridge. Had a couple of men left over. And Brasher looked at it. And off New Zealand. But they just stood back a little bit and looked at each other. Thought there was a chance to the outside if they just had a pass.
Yeah, there was one man overlap. Ruben Wiki is the man who comes up with the kick forward. Tim Brasher and Lockyer. Well, they didn't really want any. They didn't really want their ball at all. The game has really slowed down. Some players really struggling to get back. It was an opening 40 that we'd like to see in war.
Now Sailor. Some running repairs, or should we say standing repairs. Brasher amongst the centre to make a bust. Very hot week in Brisbane, humid. And then finally late rain just before the kickoff. Jason Smith, long, slow play the ball. Langer. Kearns. Stepping into a whole heap of trouble. Brasher in trouble too. Darren Brett. Huge tackle from Joe. McCracken there as well. Webke got straight through a high tackle and just continues to gallop. Carries about 3 to the 30.
Well, Logan Swan was the man who missed the tackle. Really had to try and make up, and then it was Alfie. Puts the little kick in again.
Waits it perfectly to the in goal. Taken by Hoppy, and they nail him just a few metres out. Still fights with them now. Finally put down by Kevin Walters. Just get that sense, Tony, that they got to spark up pretty quick, the Kiwis.
Yeah, they certainly do. I mean, Gary was right to slow down a little bit, but the Australians are really controlling it. Webke there was a fantastic run, and that's what the Kiwis need to do. And here goes Quinton, and I think Joe needs to follow up. They really need to spin it out wide, the Kiwis, and they need to be the first ones to score.
Kevin Iro puts it down after a great passage from Quinton Ponga. A terrific ball from him to give them half a chance.
Well, that's where you need to hold those balls at the last second. The last pass needs to be held now as the Australians will go wide on the Kiwis.
Early days in the tackle count too. Kevin Walters nabbed by Ridge, who had to make a desperate tackle. Andrew Johns. Darren Brett gives it away. Hoppy special. Webke on Hoppy. Jason Smith and Darren Smith. Hoppy takes on them all. Hoppy wins it. What a run. Heavens above, if you're going to find something to turn a test, look out for a Hoppy special. You never know whether this game's going to break on this.
Oh, you certainly don't, but the ball, that was Darren Brett who threw the ball up. He was waiting for Stephen Ott, but it was, what about the chase from Webke? I know he had 10 metres, but the big fella never gave up. Neither did Sean Hoppy. He got inside everyone. Jason Smith missing at the last minute. Tremendous try to get the Kiwis back in this game.
Yes, if you want something inspirational, you want someone to turn it around, that man there, Sean Hoppy, can do it. He's pretty quick. The chase was on. They caught him, but there was 5 and 6 of them, and they still couldn't get him. Look at the determination on his face. He can see that line. He can see the defence. He knows that everything hinges on him because he's the man to turn it around. Look at that. 4 Australians go straight past him. They can't handle the conditions. A beautiful step from Sean, and he's put the Kiwis right back in this game. Oh, so sweet that try is.
Unbelievable. We all know in maths 4 into 1 just doesn't go. And another 2, all of a sudden, second test. Back alive and well here at Suncorp as the rain gets a bit heavier at 14-6. Australia put to the test to win the second test, to keep this series alive, and the comfort zone from half-time all but gone. Ponga strongly. Logan Swan. Now Joe Vagana. We mentioned they needed to spark up. Hoppy's provided. They are fired up.
Oh, fired up, and that's what they've got to do. Is now Matthew Ridge goes for around a 15-metre gallop. So you really just got to take it to the Australians. I think the Australians thought the game was already over at half-time.
Jones looking for runners. Just stands on the 40. Webke absolutely shattered by some of the confrontations in this second test. Hasn't stopped trying though. Saylor. And a real wave of black and white down there after that kick. The lift has been provided. Kevin Walters back up the middle, finished off by Kalis. Jason Smith. Darren Brett gets hammered. We've picked up the meters over that advantage line. Sheer weight of possession made that story come out in the first 40, but now the wake-up call for New Zealand. Langer. Trying to grab back the reins for the likes of Lockyer. Lockyer. Magnificent run. And the ball back over the top. He just couldn't see Renouf. He looked for the more difficult pass to Brasher. Renouf was trying to get with him.
Unbelievable. What about the chase from Jared McCracken? But Lockyer, he certainly has bounced back to his best in the second half. But McCracken, he chases. He comes from nowhere, McCracken. Watch him. He's back here now on the right-hand side. He chases and chases, and then he makes the tackle there. He tries to throw the ball back inside of Timmy Brasher.
Well saved in the end, but a terrific step and swerve from Lockyer as this one starts to open up and go from end to end. early days, second 40, they have the line breaks. But Ridge knows that his team is back in the battle. Kearney. One more tackle. Jones. One of the rare times that they'll get to the end of a set of 6. Lockyer to stand in front of his posts. In the end, under no real pressure.
Oh, it's a great take, though, isn't it? Under all that pressure in the first half. Absolutely copped a hammering from the Iro boys. And Big McCracken was flying through to make that tackle.
Price gets to the sideline, along with Aiken and Menzies. Kearns will take a spell as Tallis takes it up the middle. Tries to climb out of a couple of tackles. Dummy from Andrew Johns. What's your thoughts, Toddy, about Andrew Johns at dummy half amongst the forwards?
Yeah, I think he needs to run a little bit more with the ball. He's a gifted little player, and he needs a few more decoy runners and guys running off him, because he can put players in gaps. But he's been contained very well by the Kiwi forward pack.
Hoppy served up a ball from Ridge. Another good chase from the Aussies as the Kiwis down deep in the 20, and problems with that shoulder. Ridge may not go the distance on this one. They need him at the back. Purely and simply for character. Ridge, you saw in the corner there, just shuffling off to the sideline. He's out of here. Now it's a big ask, maybe with Kearney to take over the captaincy.
Well, I think that all the boys will just be saying, let's get in there and do the work ourselves. Not worried about who's going to be captain. Let's just keep going forward, because we're back in this game.
This man's injury is just important. Robbie Paul. Wiki. Next scorer might just take the test. That's how it's poised now. Namu. All the momentum. First 40, or late in that first 40 for the Aussies, and now New Zealand digging pretty deep. Sailor. Renoff down the tunnel. I mean, it's been busy, the bench in those locker rooms, as Thorne thrown to ground. Looks like it might be shoulder trouble for Renoff as well. Menzies scoops up a difficult pass.
Well, that was a great pass by Jason Smith. Just playing on the fringes of the ruck. That's what the Australians needed, plus the Kiwis. Now Walters, oh, what a ball!
Here goes Brasher. Icon's trying to get there, and Brasher not finished off, says Russell Smith. And they have them turning around quickly, trying to rush back. Wanting to go wide as Langer. Johns is outside, now inside, and going back up the middle. Aiken. Lockyer went on the inside. Running out of tackles, it goes down to the last. Johns to bomb away to look for Sailor, nice and wide. Barnett's there, off Sailor, sits up for Kevin Iro. Now he's saying this is a big call, that the first one goes against Barnett.
It did look like Barnett had climbed nice and high for the ball. Well, I thought the ball was going back.
Toddy? Extra huge call.
That is a shocking call. There is no way that the Kiwis knocked that on. That's played right into the Australians' hands.
Well, he was actually turned side on when he was trying to catch the ball at the same time. Graham.
Well, I thought if he got a hand on it, I'm not even sure if he got a hand on it, but Smith is there on the spot, and this just opens it up for Australia. Lockyer with an awkward ball out to Brasher. Most important set of 6 in this test today. Inside the 10. Rain heavier still again. Price. Taken by McCracken. Kevin Walters slipping. Back quickly to his feet, but they rush up to pick up a couple of valuable metres in defence. Langer looking outside for Thorne. Thorne, big and strong, crunches over. Now it's more than just a huge call. It might be the test right here and now.
Oh, unbelievable stuff. They just go nice and wide. Alfie just hold the ball up long enough. Steve Kearney, I think, is the man that gets caught out once again, trying to slide. Namu did his absolute best to try and stop the big fella. 6'6" Thorne. Good try.
Yes, he is a big guy, and I suppose that close. But look at the time that Alfie's got to look, pick his mark, and give the ball to Thorne out wide. And these big guys out wide are always going to come up trumps. But I tell you what, I've got to say it, you can put this try down to the damn referee as he turned this all around. There was no way that was a knock on, so good on you, ref.
What you'd notice there too, Toddy, except the referee didn't score the try, was Steve Kearney was starting to slide and he stopped and didn't go forward once again. That's let them down every time a try's been scored.
Also a perfect example, Gary, in there from a Bronco, the way they play the game. They run in at the ball, then slide out before the pass even comes to them. They just want to get that extra half step outside their man.
Oh, they do it so well, don't they? And this guy here is probably one of the best examples at it.
2 from 2. Not quite singing in the rain here in Brisbane at the moment. A lot of football left. But Lockyer tries to bring this one around. Will shave it. Make it 3 from 3 from the Aussie fullback, as they get it out to a big scoreline. 20-6. So much work to do. Tons of work. As the Kiwis restart things down deep towards Wedke. Taken by Kalis and Logan Swan. Much as they've dominated possession, the Australians, a lot of the tries coming from pretty simple mistakes in defence.
And that's all it's been. The defence has not moved up. They've stood still and waited to see what was going. Instead of going in to make the decision for the guy who's got the ball, they've let guys run into holes. But I'll tell you what, I've been very impressed with Kalis. Kalis has had a big game.
And that's it. 7 mistakes in their own territory. Just cannot win test matches. All those stats sat so nicely for them, Toddy, at North Harbour in April.
Yeah, that's right. You know, you've got to complete your sets. This guy here, Webke, too, has had a fantastic game for the Australians, and really, the Australians, they're going to really turn it on now. And this is where we're going to see what match fitness is all about with the New Zealanders. Will they be able to keep up with the pace of the Australians, who have just come off a grand final, and there's nothing like the pace of grand finals, and these guys have just come off with 2 weeks. So this is going to be a real telling time now with 23 minutes to go.
Poppy. Plenty of time in possession. Really dominating, in control of that area. And the Kiwis having to come from behind, take some risks now. Tonga needs support as he goes up. Look, and have to hold the ball up. Good quick hands, shoveled out by Buckenhart for Kevin Iro to try and bounce out of 2 and 3 tackles. Make that 4. Duck under 1 and finish up on the 30. Sideru. Back for Kevin Iro. Robbie Paul to step. Can't beat the tackle of Tallis. Just crossed it up. And they've got it at the right end of the field.
Yeah, well, it's a one-on-one tackle there. You can hear the referee saying Steve Kearney disappointed with that. And it was fair tackle. Great tackle by Gordon Tallis.
12 handling errors against 7. Kevin Walters. Probably the man that's got involved in this second 40 along with Lockyer. Langer, just one of the rare times that he's tried to take on the line, even then not really trying to put the foot down. 18 missed tackles as Kevin Walters dummies his way down towards the 20, but it's on the last tackle. Langer just kicking back across the ruck. Pongia dropped the shoulder into him, doesn't have to get out of the way.
Jones.
Stacey Jones pushes one of his own out of the way, Tony Iro, to get out towards the 30.
I just got a bit excited there, Graham. I can see the whole opening up.
Pongia.
Good on you, Wiz.
I'm fired up. Get me a jersey.
Kearney. I think they need somebody that can travel quickly.
Yeah,
Well,
I was going to get me car.
You're too old, Wiz. Settle down.
Joe Vangana. Good one-hander up now for Barnett. Sailor just hung on by the jumper. He wants to get involved again. Throws himself. Unbelievable. What a hit from Price and Kearns. Just backed himself, Big Joe. Jones behind the line, puts another boot to it, and again, Kevin Waller's there to save it. Now, penalty would come from interference on Jones, but what about Bogana? .10 metres out, the penalty, and a quick tap from Sideru. Surely they've been inspired by Big Joe. Now Pongia just a couple of metres away. Needing to open it up, keep it alive again. Kearney. 5 metres. Great quick play of the ball. Sideru. Jones. Going wide. Tony Iro. Dummies on a run around. Back for Namu. Good quick hands. Logan Swan. Back for Pongia. Somebody needs to straighten. They wrap him up about 12 out. Kevin Iro. Dummies. Climbs out of the tackle. Throws an awkward pass off the legs of his brother Tony.
Oh, that's when young Stacey Jones or G. Namu should get in there, start directing play. They have to go nice and wide. Quick runs out of dummy out, just put them all under all sorts of pressure now.
Darren Smith. What about this?
This is just great stuff. Whatever the Kiwis are throwing at them or the Aussies are throwing at each other, it's been unbelievable stuff around the middle of the ruck.
Kevin Walters. And this Brisbane Bronco backline into gear. Great passing and big numbers. A rush at the 50, just short of that line. Langer again, looking for the short ball for Kearns. And he pushes an awkward one back too for Jason Smith. Lockyer, champion of broken play. Again, Jason Smith, inside and out. Eichen was held back. But Kearney had to do it. Forget about that. He knew the try was gone if he didn't. Jason Smith, 6 tackles and all. Kevin Walters next to the post. How quickly can they sniff it out?
Well, I don't think he was held back. I thought it was a fair enough tackle by Steve Kearney. And he should have disputed the one to the referee, because I thought there was nothing wrong with it whatsoever. Here he is making the break. Here's a beautiful ball, Lockyer. He looks left, he goes to the right. There's Eichen there. Oh, you're kidding. That's fair, and that's just play on.
Yeah, but watch the tap. There was an Aussie player standing in front of him when he took the tap. But anyway, they went on with the play. Smith here, great stuff. And well, Kevin Walters, I can see his young boys sitting up behind me, and they're so proud of their dad scoring a great try for Australia. He is a fantastic player, Kevy. And Australia just too strong now.
Just some great ball play, wasn't there, by Smith then, and then Walters just to turn up. I've done a heap of work up the middle of the ruck. I'll tell you what, he'll be very, very happy, as you said, Brent Todd, in scoring that try and raises the right hand.
Had a huge second 40 and a great season all round for Brisbane, Queensland. And now this vital second test, his 10th. Never scored a more important try as the Kiwis were trying to climb back again. 3 from 3. That, though, was a real show of the match fitness, straight away getting on with it, picking up the pace again when they felt the Kiwis were starting to tire. Right next to the post. Missed 100%. Keeps on travelling as they send it right out to 26-6. Always there. Kevin Walters set him alight on the bench. Still the rain. And still nice and tough for the Kiwis. Mile of points required in a real rush. Just haven't had the ball all night long in the right places.
Yeah, they certainly haven't, but I tell you what, the thing that they've done so well here tonight when they get the opportunities when they hold the ball is Big Joe offloading and Quinton offloading at the same time. They've got to get the little guys here to back them up all the time. We've got the ball away here to Barnett, but there's no one else to give the ball to. That's what's beating us against the Australians. When they make a break, there's 2 or 3 Australian players backing them up.
Toddy, pretty important mental attitude here in the last 16 to try, if they can at all, to get back to a game that might be gone, but also to make sure mentally that they don't walk away from here too badly wounded.
Well, that's a big point, is that, you know, the Australians, if they run away at this game, it's going to be a big confidence boost for them when they do go to Albany next week. But the New Zealand side, I suppose, have got to be proud of themselves, but they need to finish strongly here because it's going to help for their match fitness for next week as well.
Langer gets it away from Namu, and they'll be sent a mile back towards their own line again.
Yeah, one of the big things is this match fitness. That's why I think the test matches should be played straight away, one after each other, because the Kiwis now are really struggling to get back to the play the ball areas. They haven't even made 1 metre.
Error, no matter what happens. Another strong hit from Brett and also Wedkick. Time in their own half has been way too long at 36 minutes. And I say no matter what happens, we know that they can win it at North Harbour. I just think they've got to really put their heads down a bit more rather than just all the physical side of the game.
Well, that's the big thing. They were very, very physical in that opening 25-30 minutes of the first half, but then they just kept on going on just a fraction too long, Graham. I think they need to do what the Australians do now, is use the ball a little bit better.
Renoff, Matthew Ridge's story, Toddy.
Yeah, he's torn a pec and his shoulder's gone apparently, and he doubts whether he'll be back on for the rest of the game. So I'm sure that now with a score like this, Frank will keep him off and try and save him up for next week.
Most important, but still plenty of football left in this game. Just under 14 and a half. Langer allowed a bit of latitude at that dummy half. Good quick ball from Britt, but Langer just put it down.
Oh, that could have resulted in another try. They were short on the right-hand side. That's the Kiwis' defence. The Aussies were stretched to the left. If Langer could have caught this ball with a little run around. Look at it out wide there. Only 3 Kiwis there. This is the ball that's put back. Bang. One big long ball. Mate, it is all over.
I think Langer had his eye on the gap, which was a pretty big one that he might have even been able to sneak through.
I think that's what he was trying to do.
Rare possession, but every time they get it, they've got to work it away from their own 10 or 20. Big advantage. Meters. Joe Wagner.
I tell you what, the Kiwis now, what they should do is just throw the ball wide. I know Quinton and Joe are going forward. Well, no one else goes with them. They just got Stacey, get in there, go wide on the Australians, the first tackle.
Robbie Paul. McCracken. Back to Shidera. Stacey Jones wide. Now for Tony Pulatua. Can't get away from Renoff. Brasher climbs aboard to finish him off. Robbie Paul to Jones. Shaped a kick. Second time round had to. Saylor. Taken over the top by Kalis. And a good tackle down low from Robbie Paul. Brasher. Kick will have the Australians in possession right past the 50 already, but put down. Chance on with some numbers if they can move it. Poppy.
I didn't think Sean was going to beat 5 of the Australians then.
If there's going to be a hint at all, it's going to have to be pretty quick. Good ball from Pongia. Pulatua bouncing men out of the way, can't sit up the pass. Good quick play the ball though for Eru. Now for Jones. Skipping out of one. Robbie Paul back on the inside. Wiki turning. Wiki's got it, and there is just a hint. Some hope for the fans at Suncorp.
Well, this is what the Kiwis needed to do, throw the ball around, but the big run here by Pulatua, he's the man who set up. Watch the quick play, the ball gets up straight away. They go nice and wide and turn the ball, changing the angles on the Australians, making them stand and wait. You see the Australians have just stood there waiting, the ball gets back inside. Some very easy tackles that Ruben did get through, but a great try for the Kiwis.
Yes, the Australian side, they can't afford just to rest up now because New Zealand can hit back. They've got such great strike players. But just keeping the ball alive, New Zealand, in these wet conditions. And Ruben Wiki goes over. He's very, very tough near the line, Ruben.
Strong as they come. Spent a bit of time this season in the back row. Now Namu at 82% this season from alongside the posts. Might ask yourself the question, can the Kiwis do what Canterbury kept on doing in the finals at 26-12? Bit under 10.5 in this second test. Still 14-point gap in favour of the Australians. go to show what might have been completely in this match if the Kiwis had controlled the ball.
Oh, certainly would have been a different story, because this man, Quinnipiac, away he goes again.
Still time. Iro quickly for Jones. Pull it to him. They stand back looking. Game changing pretty quickly. Robbie Paul. Kalis through the dummy, taken on the inside by Price. Still some anxious times left in this. Jones. Jones! Standing back, Australia. And Sideru knows it. Trying to pinch it with some quick play of the balls. Last tackle. Jones, just a short one for Robbie Paul. Knocks it over the top, but just easily, too easily for Steve Menzies.
Well, what was Steve Menzies doing there? He was having a rest that all coaches would be saying, go and chase the ball, don't just wait for it. He's in the right position for the Aussies there.
Just a short kick. He just needed it to be maybe another metre away from Jason Smith to continue on himself, but Menzies was having a spell. And McCracken in trouble again with Russell Smith, and says something. Andrew John smartly gets on with it. This is where the Bennett policy is, just to rush at him again.
Yeah, certainly just keep turning them around all day long. 12 penalties to 4. This really has turned things around for the Kiwis here at Suncorp Stadium.
Inside the 30. Price swerving out of a couple, taken by McCracken. Fine run to set it up in front of the post. Langer. Kevin Walters the decoy for Renouf to just hang on. A little bit more patience being showed by the Australians. Jason Smith on the inside, Kevin Walters. Renouf, Langer outside. But Renouf will stay with it. 5 metres away.
This is where you've got to watch out for running or chip kicking.
There's somebody on the inside like Kearns to nail it. No, great save. Kearns cannot believe it, but what about the quick thinking from Namu?
Oh, tremendous work there by G. Namu under extreme pressure. Alan Langer is the man once again. Turn the ball back inside, and now the Australians go wide.
Ball was stolen but picked up by Kalis, I think, offside, but tremendous effort from Namu. Now Eichen to take over for Jason Smith. Price on his outside, standing a bit flat. Smith staying short side, Langer wide open with Kevin Walters. Wanting a runner, finds Tallis looking for a double. Tallis won't be stolen. That's it now.
Well, Gordon Tallis running off the Alan Langer paths once again.
It has been more than just the Bronco connection tonight, but Namu, magnificent thinking. They couldn't do it again, though, on Tallis.
Well, they certainly couldn't. They got nice and wide, and you can see out wide on the right-hand side, Stacey Jones once again just standing, and Gordon Tallis gets past Ruben Wicke. Ruben Wicke usually makes those tackles, but up against Jones, Tallis was just too big.
Yeah, he's certainly been the form player, hasn't he, Gordon Tallis, for this Australian side. He's put in some great hits, but he's bustling runs, and here's another example of why he's one of the top second rowers in the world. Just too powerful, too strong, and seals the game for Australia. But look out next week at Albany. It's all I can say.
Toddy, I agree with you, and I'll put it to you that I've seen enough tonight physically to know that they are a great chance at North Harbour if they take this away, carve it up, and think about it a bit more.
Of course they have. As a lot of these Australian players are walking past me, and they're very, very sore and very bruised. And the New Zealand side have given these guys a bit of a hiding, not so much on the scoreboard, but physically they've given it to them. They will lift at Albany. It's going to be a great game.
Lockyer, one of the big stars from out wide, won't bring this around. But they have it at 30-12. Kearns thought he had a test try on debut, but Namu, what a thief.
I tell you what, he just went, oh, I can't believe this. But I tell you what, the little man, he's just directed traffic all over the place. But on this thing on the line there, that Ruben Wicke should have gone forward into Gordon Tallis.
We were all there. a couple of weeks ago at the grand final. Tallis got the Man of the Match award. We don't believe he deserved it. He's not far from getting it tonight, though, with his effort.
I'll tell you what, he's right up there with him. I'll tell you what, even though the Kiwis are on the wrong end of the scoreboard, Quinton Ponga and Joe Vugana have played very, very well here tonight.
Still big numbers. Menzies full of running. 9 line breaks and 9-2. All the ball. Used it so much better. Kearns.
Well, in a week of football, you know, everything can certainly turn around. I don't think the Kiwis can make this many mistakes as they've done here today.
Tallis looking for the quick play of the ball. Langer dummying, then sitting it up for Andrew Johns, selectively cutting men out for Ranoff. Terrific effort from Tallis. Double in a test, whereby the Aussies had to get on deck. Kevin Walters put down away from the ball. Crowd didn't like it, but I think Russell Smith got acknowledgement from the touch judges that there wasn't much to it. Kevin Iro. Another look at the kick.
Oh, it's just gone there and shoulder charged him straight out of the way. I think next time the referee will view a few of these tackles differently too next week, let me tell you, because he won't want any square-ups.
Joe Vugana, enthralling clash early between the front row, likes of McCracken, who certainly made a mark, along with Webke, Tallis. Incredibly tough. Kearney. Langer tries to hold him down. And does so, but finally gives up the penalty. A little bit too late, though. The penalty's tumbling from New Zealand.
Well, I don't think Alfred was going to win that battle.
Inside, or getting towards the last 3. Converted try would be pretty important. Something to really think about, just to put a bit more into that scoreline for next Friday night.
Well, I just think the Kiwis have shown the Australians that they can score tries. If they get enough ball, tell you what, the Australian side will be under plenty of pressure over there in New Zealand.
Kalis, just outside the 20. Most of the second 40 played without Ridge. Joe Vugana got rid of Alan Langer. Kearney can't do likewise on Jason Smith. Jones, Robbie Paul. Floating one up for Namu to go back down the middle. Good ball for Kalis, not so for Stacey Jones. One more tackle only. Tony Iro. Bit of a left footer. Out wide for his brother. Touched by New Zealand. And will be a handover for the Australians inside the last 2.
Yeah, well, I don't think Tony Iro's kicking boots will be on next week. And that's where I keep saying, and they keep harping on it, but the little men, I've got to get in there, start directing traffic and help these big fellas out.
Kevin Walters, Ranoff. 45 away. Put to the test early. They took a nice lead at half-time, the Aussies, and kept the throttle travelling in this second 40. Signs a couple of times of the Kiwis bouncing back into it. Another penalty in the play of the ball from Russell Smith.
Well, I think Russell Smith should have done this in the first half, not with only around about 1.5 minutes to go in the second half. I don't think we would have seen a different game.
Probably right that he has kept them further apart in the second 40. Thorne. It's been some night for the Brisbane Broncos after the grand final victory. Thorne. Keen to accommodate Kevin Iro. So much feeling still inside this last 60 seconds. Just 5 metres away. Important to keep them out. Langer. Kevin Walters. Good defence that forces him back up the middle. Andrew Johns from dummy half, back for Langer. Now for Jason Smith. Short ball up for Ben Eichen. Langer keeping it alive. Kevin Walters inside one. Short ball Lockyer. Touched. Back up for Andrew Johns.
Knock on.
And he will bring it back for a knock-on.
Andrew Johns had the finger raised there, Graham.
Now, Johns asked the question whether there was the knock-on from the Australians, but forget about all of that. Time's gone. And it will be a decider next Friday night. Fiery, absolutely fiery in the first 40. With the ball play in the end belonged to the Australians on this 18-point victory. And Langer gets a victory as Test skipper.
Yeah, he certainly does, and he was very, very good here tonight, directing his team all around the paddock. As you can see, this is the last play of the day. They're trying to put the ball back inside. Oh, that's what I thought the knock-on was, but no. Well,
Johns did get up asking the question because there wasn't one. But
it's not on the scoreboard, so you won't be able to read his name in the paper tomorrow.
the Aussies come up with it.
Mate, that was a very, very physical game. Let's see what the Aussies will be not looking forward to going to New Zealand next week.
For Kearney and company and the Kiwis, the 45-year wait at Hestry will have to wait one more week next Friday night. Back at Suncorp after this.